Good morning, good noon, good afternoon, good evening, good whenever you are watching my presentation. I'm Eli Wang, a undergraduate from Charles Darwin University, and I'm going to graduate in November in this year. So before that, I have to finish my placement presentation, which is what I'm doing now. So first of all, I have to introduce you my placement provider is Deloitte Darwin, such a professional firm for undergraduate students to do their placement to enhance their skills and abilities. Today, I'm going to do my placement within 4 sections. The first section is background of Deloitte and skills acquired of learned, skills graph tracing, and last one is reflection. Okay, let's start with the first one, the background of Deloitte. So as we know, Deloitte is one of the big 4 accounting organizations and the largest professional services network in the world by revenue and the number of professionals, with its headquarters in London, UK, a network of offices in Australia, including Darwin office. So we can see the international firm was a UK private company limited by guarantee and supported by a network of the independent legal entities around the world. So in Deloitte Australia, there are 719 partners and more than 8,000 employees in 14 different offices across Australia. And Deloitte Darwin is one of the 14 offices in Australia. Deloitte Darwin opened in 1960s. Now have about 80 staff and 7 partners. So within all 3 different levels, Deloitte provides audit, consulting, financial advisory, risk advisory, and legal services. So let's have a look at audit one. So audit provides organization with traditional accounting and audit services, as well as internal auditing, IT control assurance, and media and advertising assurance. And after that, consulting, financial advice, risk advisory, and tax and legal. See, tax and legal helps clients increase their net asset value, undertake the transfer pricing and the international activities of multinational companies to help them minimize their tax liabilities. Also, they provide advisory of tax implications of various business decisions. That's a glance of Deloitte's services. After this, let's move to the department and the team where I am placed during my placement. So the department where I am placing is tax and legal, and which consists of tax team and private advisory team. And the team where I am placing is private advisory. So private advisory brings us expertise in economic and social development in the NT. As we know, private advisory deep economic and social development expertise comes with practical commercial and governance to shape public policy, strategic approaches, deliver business insight, and inform investment strategies. So now, in the private advisory team, we have 1 partner, Karen Green, and 2 directors, Kylie and Sherry, and 1 senior manager, Angus, 1 analyst, Sarah, and 2 undergraduates, Sam and me, Eli. Okay, so far I have introduced the background of Deloitte. Next, I'm going to tell you what skills I acquired and learned at Deloitte. So you can see in this section, I want to share you some skills acquired and learned, which including all sorts of training I got. I have to say, Deloitte is a good platform where undergraduates can access a variety training when they have their placement there. So we can see in table 2, there are some welcome to Deloitte, new starter training, introduced to knowledge, collaboration, and research, and some other things like a vendor invoice and introduce to Australia foreign investment rules. All this sort of training give me a good opportunity to learn more about Deloitte, such as deep understanding of culture and behavior in Deloitte, also basic skills to utilize tools at Deloitte, and basic acknowledgements for everyday work regulation in Deloitte, and also the ability to do research by use of resources at Deloitte, and deep understanding of ethics at Deloitte. So many trainings to help me to know more about Deloitte. Next, let's move to the third section, skills graph chasing. So in this section, I want to share you some work experience at Deloitte during my placement. So during the whole period of my placement at Deloitte, I have cooperated with different team leaders in different tasks. So me, Eli's here. So I cooperate with my director Sherry, director Kylie, and manager Angus. So different team leaders have different tasks. For example, so Sherry is the first director to ask me to help to serve client. So first one, my first task at Deloitte is first care desktop research and report. And this one is quite good and very interesting project, and then keeps me busy a couple of weeks, and which I feel very happy because from this I learned quite a lot, some foster care model in Australia, and that's quite different thing for me before. So after that, I helped Sherry to do some proposal drafting, such as ride sharing, policy design, also asset management. With Sherry, I also help my director Kylie to do some like proposal and doing policy storyboarding and presentation. Also help her to do the cost profile analysis. This one is very interesting because through this project I can know all sorts of industry in the territory, what's their cost situation and what's their average cost situation around Australia and in the territory. We can have a comparison between these two levels. That's quite useful and helpful and meaningful. And last, I still help my manager Angus to do some proposal like anti-mango association, and then for team Rebound to do the proposal. After that, I still help my manager Angus to do the anti-business analysis and advertisement. This one is quite interesting project because this project is about to help small business in the territory which suffered from COVID-19, to help them how to survive and rebuild their business. So from this slide, we can see during my placement, I helped my director Sherry, director Kylie, and manager Angus to do some proposal and some different project. That's quite interesting and helpful for me during my placement. So next move to this slide. There's some specific project I have done during my placement. Say the first one is desktop research for foster care in Australia. So before that, I have to say different team leader has their own features and competencies. It's a very good chance for me to learn different skills and different from different leader in per tasks. So in desktop research for foster care in Australia, I will say I use the skills from my university, which including research skills like scanning articles or essay to capture keywords, and also use the copyright ability because once I captured all the related content to my task, I have to copyright all into a logical, vivid, and meaningful paragraphs in a report. So besides the skills where I get from my uni, I still got some skills from Deloitte through this task, like how to utilize tools at Deloitte, because there are so many research tools for staff to use when we are doing desktop research. So it is necessary and helpful for me to acquire the recipe for those tools and complete my task efficiently. So the second example I'm going to talk about is new model establishment for private foster care in the NT. So to implement this project, I used skills from my university such as financial analysis, because when I designing a new model for private foster care, it is significant to analyze the related financial assistance, for example, the operation cost and the net profit for before tax. Also, I used my ability or skills like a feasibility study of new model. When you setting up a new model, it is crucial to tailor it into the local economic system and legislation. That's quite important. Also, I get some skills from Deloitte through this task, like the ability to create a new model. You know, it is tough to go through one from zero, and so I need to read and learn more about business model in different industries in both home and abroad. So this task give me a very good opportunity to know more about Australia in foster care models. So the third example I'm going to talk is anti-business analysis and advertisement. This one is from my senior manager Angus. It's very interesting. So in this task, I used my skills from university like SWOT analysis, use this tool to analyze the business operation and making strategies for those small business suffered from the COVID-19 pandemic. So, and based on the outcome of the SWOT analysis, I have to give them some advice. Also, I still need to do some financial analysis, access to the client's my oval, and forming a financial report by using the captured data, for example, the net profit and the inventory day, also the expense and the revenue ratio. So, besides the skills I used from my university, also I got some skills from Deloitte through this task, like the ability to tailor business operation strategies according to the local economic system and the legislation. All of this is quite interesting and helpful for me during my placement, but let's keep going. The last one, proposal drafting, which I feel stressful because this one is very high level requirement. And this one, I use some skills from my study or my university, such as research skills and copyright abilities. And also, most important, I got skills from Deloitte to how to figure out the proposal, how to make the proposal much more advanced. So firstly, I obtained insight on the process of tender in the NT or in Australia. And secondly, I get a deep and comprehensive understanding in the policy and economic situation in the Northern Territory. And also learn how Deloitte responds to requirement in the proposal and how to make good use of advantages such as previous experience, team commitment to that territory, and to show the capacity and capability of Deloitte to reach the requirement of the proposal. And the last one, a very basic one, is more advanced skills in office work like how to do very beautiful Word and then beautiful PowerPoint, and how to figure out some data in Excel. So for the last section, I want to use the STAR method to illustrate the outcome of my placement at Deloitte. And as you can see, there are quite a lot of tasks I have done during my placement, but today I'm going to just take one example to illustrate the outcome of my placement, which is new model establishment for private foster care in the NT. For this task, I have to do some financial analysis because when designing a new model for private foster care, it is necessary to analyze the related financial systems, for example, the operation cost and the net profit before tax. Also, I have to do some feasibility study of new model because when setting up a new model, it is crucial to tailor it into the local economic system and legislation. So, as we know, STAR method including task, also action and result. Let's go through the action one. To implement this task, I do some actions like research the financial details of the foster care in Australia to have some insight of the financial structure and basic payment rate. Also, I have to analyze the client's current model to figure out what's its advantages, what's its disadvantages, and after that make a comparison analysis with other leading foster care model in Australia. Also, the last part, which is most important part for me, I think, is chat, communicate with my director Sherry, and when I reach my constraint so at that moment I do need to exchange our ideas with each other to make sure the new model's feasibilities. Through all the parts, tasks, actions, I got the results, including very good communication abilities and also sense of responsibility. So for the communication, I think it's very necessary and helpful to communicate with my director Sherry when I reach my constraint, and then every single time when I ask her some questions, she always give me some positive feedback and with vivid and correct direction to go. And this is what I do appreciate. Also, I very like for my placement at Deloitte because I feel respect and I feel happy, got some positive feedback from my directors. Also, I got a sense of responsibilities. So this task makes me feel strongly responsible for the client when I walk through the new foster care model. Because as you know, when during my placement at Deloitte, I am playing two different roles. One is for an undergraduate from CDU, and the other one is employee from Deloitte. So these two different roles require me to perform well for client. So the whole thing, even though this only one of the example, but the whole thing actually I developed very well at Deloitte. Deloitte gave me quite a lot of skills and improve my abilities very well. So next one, I want to share with you some feedback from my director Sherry. She said, I got some great logic and some personal skills, which means I am an asset to the team I work with. So this is quite important for me because that makes me very, very happy, because I think that's worthy when I finish my placement and in the future. This one, great logic and personal skills, I will keep going that in my future career in Australia. I think that will help me a lot in the long term. So at last, I have to thank you, Deloitte, thank you, Karen, thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Kylie and Angus, also Sarah. Also, I have to thank you, Rupley, and also Jenny. Thank you so much for helping me to get the placement and help me develop myself well during my placement. Thank you so much.